I don't know, I guess the board can agree or not disagree, but in the permitting for conservation, I mean, I think that 3,000 can come right off the top.
Yes.
Um, and I don't know, do we need to have it? Do you need an existing conditions plan? I guess as long as you know where the wetlands were flagged, what's the rest of the board think about that situation? That seems like a lot of
Mr.
money.
Chairman, I would like to think that we could save them a lot of money, or save the town a lot of money,
Right.
if we can get this interpreted as this is a municipal effort, that's an educational tool, that is a temporary walk over a bit of wetland to allow access for educational purposes, right? I feel pretty clear we could waive the town's part of the notice of intent.
Right.
We might be able to check with the state as saying, no, this doesn't need a notice of intent. We can make a negative determination if they do it according to plan. And that, yes, you need a base plan because you got to figure out, where the trail's going to go and where rocks are. But maybe they could do that for a lot less if it doesn't need to be a formal notice of intent. And they still got design, okay. Stake erosion control. Could we find some volunteer landscaper?
I think the Cub Scouts, would be something that could do that,
I think so too.
Yeah,
stake and grade,
walkway under someone who knows what they're doing. It could be a community thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all that stuff there was some, the as-built for certificate of compliance. If we're waiving all the permitting, they don't need to do an as-built for $5,000 for a couple trails.
That's right.
I'd like to make a correction to what Peter said. It's not going to be temporary. The expectation is that there would be a handicap accessible ramp put in that would be permanent and allow permanent access. In that work would be happening within the 100-foot buffer, and in fact probably within the 25-foot no disturb area. That's why we need the extra
And I think
scrutiny.
we should research that even if it's permanent, such a project is not necessary. In my opinion, I would want to make the argument it's not necessary for a notice of intent. If they can show what they're going to do and that it's not going to permanently impact, or the impact is overcome by the benefits provided. And that's, I think, our goal.
Is the circuit rider the appropriate person from the state to have this conversation with?
Yes.
And what's the circuit rider's name? This is where we would, I don't know what it is, Bill would.
Yeah, I'm
Damon,
sorry, I've forgotten her name.
Who's in charge up in Worcester?
Well, she was at our last meeting. The minutes might
that was
have that. Judith Schmitz or something?
I think, let me just look at the minutes here, hold on. Oh, if anybody.
Judy Schmitz or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but I think she's retiring, isn't she?
No, that was her boss, the Big Cheese.
Okay.
The one who was in charge of penalties and not the circuit rider.
Okay.
So
I think either way, I think we can get this down thousands of dollars. And I really feel that if we talk to DEP and explain to them what's going on here, what we're trying to accomplish at the end of the day.
That would be wonderful.
So here's what I would recommend, Betsy and Megan, that you try and do. You would want to set up a meeting with the circuit rider, Judith Smith from the state, people on the Conservation Commission. I expect I would be able to attend. Peter, you should be there because you know the language of what you want to say about getting the NOI waived, and also someone from Guerrero and Hanlon, because they will want to hear verbally from the state what doesn't need to get done, and then the state representative would follow up in writing.
Mm.
And that way Guerrero and Hanlon will know exactly what they're supposed to be doing and charging for.
Perfect.
Yeah, sounds good.
That sounds wonderful.
Who were you dealing with at Gary and Hanlon?
Wait, I can check her name.
Elizabeth Mindini?
No.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, if you want, send me over who you're dealing with over there also. And we have a pretty close relationship with them, and maybe I can explain to them a little bit about where we're going with this and see if we can just do the bare minimum to get you guys going without, I mean, looks like something that we'd be doing if we were going out and putting a building out there.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, the numbers just seem a little extreme for a,
Oh,
something we're trying
it
to
was
do.
Sarah Pulse.
So what was it again?
Sarah Pulse.
Okay, I know Sarah, yep.
We spoke originally with Jeff, and he looked it over and sort of just sort of guesstimated around $10,000. And then when Sarah put it together, it was quite a bit more extensive than we expected.
Cool,
Peter,
cool.
Peter, can you give more information on what is involved in getting it considered a municipal project? Is there someone in town hall we should be reaching out to?
Not really. I'm kind of just blowing hot air, but I know that we have waived the fees for like DPW stuff, and I forget what, maybe something at the lake, the beach. So I think we got a Zoom call with DEP. I don't think we need like a town council. We don't need a formal. They just need to hear it from us that we think it's a school project.
Yes, it is. It is part of it. It is a project being done by the Mendon Upton School District.
Right.
And
at some point, we might need a formal letter from the principal or whoever's in charge of the property.
Yes,
But
and the work is being done entirely on school grounds, so it is municipal property.
Yeah, for student use and community use, if others want.
And the primary abutter is all in favor of the project.
Yeah, we're so glad. Yeah, thank you for that. Yes.
All right, so let's get that. You guys do that on your end. I'm gonna contact Sarah also and just tell her what we talked about and try to just see if we can maybe, she can sharpen her pencil a little bit for you,
Thank you. So when we're trying to set up a meeting like this with, like all of you guys and everything else, what should it be, like an evening meeting like this, or
Yeah, I mean, I
how
guess,
do we do the timing?
it can be a call, a Zoom meeting or something like that. We can just, I mean, it doesn't have to be a formal meeting where I don't think, right, guys? I mean, it's just gonna be a conversation.
This is not going to be a conservation commissioning meeting. This will be an informational gathering meeting. The mandatory attendee is the circuit rider or someone else from the state DEP, because they are the ones who would be saying the nice, comforting words for the people from Guerrero and Hanlon.
Okay, all right.
And then I would be there to try and interpret between what your project wants to do and the actual conservation language. Peter or other members on the conservation committee can provide their expertise.
Okay.
And my schedule is pretty flexible, but the key is Judith, I believe, from the state. So she's used to evening meetings. That might be easier to schedule, but it only takes 2 or 3 people. Not everyone has to be there, but.
All right. Good. Well, thank you very, very much. We so appreciate your support and your help. And we're learning a lot in this process.
And make sure you teach your children how slow paperwork is.
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Did I stop sharing? Good.
Yes.
That'd be good.
Oh, good.
All right, so let's
Right.
discuss the status update on mowing project at Gaskell Meadow Conservation Area. I'll give you a quick. The check was sent out for the 4,500 I
Was
did
that
discuss,
100%?
we said we still got 500 owed to Bruce Roy. The situation over there, I talked with Bruce. He had to bring an excavator in there to move the rocks. He cut basically where they gave him that map with shaded area, I guess, where to cut. He was getting into stuff that was, when he started getting toward the tree line, it was stuff that was 3 or 4 inches in diameter that he was cutting with his brush hog. That was, if he went any bigger than that and got any further into the wood line, he was going to end up damaging his equipment or having to, start cutting with a chainsaw and then in turn having to be chipping. So, which would have just raised, would have took more time. He spent 2 days there, worked pretty hard, and got the best that he could do with what he had to offer. There was no stakes out there. There was nothing but a map. Here you go. Have at it. I feel the whole thing should have been paid. He did what he could do out there with what he had to work with. And for somebody to come back and say, don't pay him for 500 because he couldn't get in and start cutting trees down. He wasn't there to cut trees. He was there to mow the grass. I'd
like to make a motion to pay him the balance. He did what he was contracted to do.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Is there a second?
Carl Hummel, second.
Roll call.
Carl
A
Hummel,
little
yes.
discussion here. Hang on.
Yep, go ahead.
Because I'm not aware of what the contract was. And yes, okay, there was a sketch plan. And I understand that it was probably beyond the expectations to have to cut with a chainsaw. I don't know what the discussion was. I don't know who negotiated. So I'm okay with paying it, but there's many lessons learned here, and if I had hindsight, we could have gone someone else cut the small trees. You don't have to chip it. You could have just left them there, dragged them off, and then have them come in. So that's what should have been done. So live and learn, and going forward, but we've spent all the money that we've had, and we're supposed to maintain this forever and a day. So, but that has nothing to do with him, but it does have to do, theoretically, what the contract was. Did anything get signed, or was it all verbal? I don't know.
There was something written up, but it was to mow the area. All it was like a GPS map, I guess you could say, but it showed like a blue shaded area of, okay, mow over here. I mean, there was no engineered stakes out there that said this is where you would go to. So he kind of just went by what was there. But that place had never been mowed before. I mean,
right, and I can understand how it happened. So there was a plan that
he had
5 years ago,
he had a contract to go mow it, not
the
cut
other.
trees.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
that 5 years ago, the Heritage Company had the subdivision plan. They put circles around what looked from an aerial photograph as fields and said, this is what needs to be cut. Okay. The developer is responsible to do that. He never does that for 5 years. He negotiates the developer, let's turn over and you'll be responsible for it, and I'll put in, what, $5,000? What did he put in? And we, the town, went along with that. We didn't know much about what we were getting into. So I guess it was Carl ended up trying to negotiate and trying to find somebody, and it was hard to find somebody because it needed to be done by a certain date, and we kept putting it off. And so he finds a friend who does him a favor and drags out the rocks, and he spends 2 days, maybe 2 guys.
He didn't find a friend to do him a favor, Peter. He brought
Well,
his
okay.
machine over there and moved them.
I was told it was a neighbor. He had a friend who was a neighbor who moved the rocks for him, and he was going to move it back because I was a little irritated that they hadn't been moved back. But in any event, he did a nice job. So I'm not commenting about the work that he did. I guess I'm saying that if I hired him to do that, I give him a plan, and I say, mow this, and he gets on the job, and he starts mowing it, and he gets 3/4 of it done. He says, I can't do all that. There's stuff in the way. He would come to me and say, hey, I can only do 80%. What do you want me to do? And I would tell him, oh, well, at that point, I might negotiate. Well, you can you do 80%? All right, well, let's settle on 90%. But there wasn't that back and forth. And so I don't want to diss the guy.
Yeah,
but
Peter, hindsight is great here, okay? So, yeah, I agree with you. Maybe next time we should be a little more explicit as far as the process. But at the end of the day, we had him go in there and do it. He should get paid for what we agreed to. So
we agreed for $5,000 for brush
That's
cutting
right.
this circled area. He could
That's
not
right.
accomplish that because of what? External circumstances? So
You know-
we
you
should
know
take
what?
the whole hit that he ended up doing less work
He
but
didn't
getting
do
the
less
same money.
work, Peter. He did
No, it
what he
wasn't less-
thought was on the plan as best as he could do by looking at a plan with some shaded area. You know what? This is the money that was, we agreed on it. Nobody wanted anything to do with mowing this thing. No, Bill asked 10 times. Hey, anybody know anybody to mow? Crickets, crickets, crickets. Nobody wanted anything to do. Now,
Couldn't even get the
because-
town to do it.
Huh?
Couldn't even get the
could
town.
Anybody to do it. So I called Bruce and said, hey, can you do us a favor? He wanted more money. He came down to $5,000. You know what? Stop nickel and diming the guy and just pay him the money and let's call it a day.
Fine. Make your vote.
I already made a motion.
Yeah, take the vote.
Roll call vote.
Carl Hummel, yes.
Bill Layton, yes.
David Tenio, yes. And listen, next time in 5 years when it comes up again, I will turn it over to you, Peter, and you can spearhead this whole thing.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not, it was getting down to a deadline here and nobody wanted anything to do with it. Nobody said anything. Nobody was helping. So, I mean, we tried to get Alan to do it, figured it wouldn't cost us anything. He didn't want anything to do with it. It was too big of a job for him. Dan Byer was gonna do it with one of the town's pieces of equipment. That didn't work out because there was issues with the, he didn't know how to run the equipment. So, you know, if everybody was involved in it in the beginning and went down there and, you know, all there was complaining going on down there. The rocks weren't put back. There's not enough stuff mowed. You know what? You take care of it next time then. I'm done with this crap.
Could we please complete the roll call for the minutes?
Well, I made the motion, so I'm yes.
Carl seconded it. Now we just need a roll call. I did, Carl did, Bill did, as far as I know. So Tim, you got a roll call?
And Peter abstained.
Okay, Peter.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, see what we got next here. Discuss the status update on issues at 23 Cape Road. Now, this is the property that's behind Gasco. Peter, you went down there.
Yes, I did, a couple times.
How did when you went down and saw those people after they were doing some work down there to clean it up? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I went down there and I was a little confused because after our last meeting, we were going to send them a letter saying, hey, come to our next meeting and tell us what you're doing. Our clerk drafted a letter, sends it out Monday. I see it and I agreed with it, but I had some concerns because I didn't want them going in fixing it before it was documented what the problem was. Evidently, you had gone to and met the owner on site and told him to hydroseed and stop further erosion, which I strongly support, but I'm not sure what you told him to do about the damage that was done on the other side of the wetlands. Because when the guy who came, I went down to the end, and the guy was there, a young man, very pleasant. They were doing a very nice job. The guy was in this machine and putting out the erosion control. And I said, oh, well, do you mind if I go over and look over the hill and that so I could see where the erosion had gotten away from? And he looked at me and smiled and said, no, I'm sorry, I don't think I can give you permission to do that. And I didn't want to, press myself. And I'm also aware that Concom probably shouldn't go on site by themselves, especially without permission. So I didn't see it, and I'm not sure what letter ever went out to him and how we're going to document the erosion that's there.
All right, well, I'll just give you, so I went there and told him that he had that this material that he had everywhere needed to be cleaned up. Instead of, I told him there was gonna be a letter coming out, but I didn't want, the guy was going out of the country, the owner. So I said, you gotta get this stuff straightened out before we get a heavy rain and there's more damage. I didn't want him to wait 2 weeks for us to tell him the same thing. Basically what I told him to do was to clean it all up and level it as best as possible, reset his silt fence, hydroseed all disturbed areas at least 75 to 100 feet from the silt fence, which I think he did more, and then put another row of silt fence and riprap on the high side of the hydroseeded area. Clean all the catch basins, and get it so that it's stabilized, growing grass until you figure out what the next, until you come in with a site plan of what you're gonna do down there. When I was there, it looked like a bomb went off. And I said, you can't leave this like this. It's on a hill. It's gonna end up, this dirt is gonna end up in the wetland.
Right, and I applaud what you did. However, that doesn't get us any, because I don't think a letter went out from us asking him to document. It's probably off his property, and I'm not sure the protocol. And I guess we could hire a consultant and have them, Wei-Ning or whoever, document it and then present him with the bill. He's not going to be happy with that. The other option is, no, he caused a problem. It's off his property, but he's got to hire a professional who will document and come up with a restoration plan that we can review and approve, right? And there's no catch basins there. I don't think there was, I don't know, if there was a detention pond, if there's any plans that he was moving dirt around with.
There's catch basins down that whole road. And
where did they go to?
There used to be a detention basin at the bottom of that cul-de-sac that must have gotten filled in. I don't know. He had people down there working over the years. Last time I was down there when Abe Rosenfeld owned it, there was a detention basin at the end of the cul-de-sac, a long, narrow detention basin that took the drainage from the road. That's not there anymore. So, whatever's, my concern is, because he's not doing any developing down there right now, but my concern is the fact that if there is more, from what I saw in those pictures, when it was heavy rain, and and there is issues coming from the soccer field also. There's water running down between the soccer field and his property, running down the stone wall. Since they paved that driveway or something, I don't know what's going on over there with the pavement that wasn't supposed to be done.
They paved the whole parking lot.
They paved the whole parking lot with no drainage.
Right.
You know, that was supposed to be pervious surface. That's why it was done with the recycled asphalt. And then 3 or 4 years later, all of a sudden there's asphalt there with no drainage. So now I don't know if that's causing water to run down between the property lines because it's breaking out of the banking.
Well, it's breaking out of the solar panels, so they got a little issue too. So it's not
breaking out
our
above the
job
solar
really
panels.
to say who caused the problem. They are the one who are obviously the cause of the biggest problem, and we need a professional on board to guide them and us to fix it. So they've stopped further, which is a good thing, but we need to send them a letter saying, hire LSP or whoever to come up with a restoration plan for the damage you did to the wetlands.
Okay. I think Bill sent the letter out, but I'll find out for sure when he gets.
Well, it would be good. Did you sign it or he signed it?
Yeah,
we made a
he
motion.
said
We discussed it. We agreed
sent the
that
letter
this
out.
should happen. Good. So we haven't heard back because I thought the letter was going to ask him to have something to us by this weekend, by this meeting, because that's when I talked with Bill. It was almost 2 weeks ago. It was right after our last meeting or the Monday after that.
I think he's out of, the owner of that company, when I was down there, the owner of the property was leaving out of the country that day that I was there, and I don't know if he came back yet or not.
Right, and it's kind of unfair to ask him to do something in 10 days, but it's a stop work order. It's a serious certified letter that needs to go out to start.
Well, I didn't want him waiting any longer because if we would have got 2 inches of rain, you know, one of these heavy downpour things that we haven't got yet this year, but if we would have got one of those, then it would have been even worse in there. So, I mean, right now, the number one thing was it needed to get stabilized. Just like we would tell anybody that had stuff, you know, even if it was new construction and we went there and there was something going on, you got to stabilize it right away and stop the bleeding. That's where I was going with it. If you want to have, I mean, DEP knows what's going on because they were in that meeting when we talked about it.
That doesn't
But
mean they've been
DEP was
officially
very
notified.
reluctant to comment
She said
because
she was
they
very
had no
busy, didn't know she was even going to have time to get there. But we were supposed to have a site walk and nobody ever did that either. So let's try to get this resolved. We'll see what the letter's out. I will have Bill make a contact to him next time he's in the office and see if we can get him to get to the June 17th meeting and you can tell him whatever you want him to do, and then he can take it from there.
Okay, I have an additional question. I heard earlier in this conversation that there is an issue with the soccer field having done something with their parking lot that we didn't expect them to. Should we haul the soccer field owner into a meeting and have a conversation with them about making something impervious that shouldn't have been?
I got Ann Mazar's got her hand up, and I think she's probably going to touch on this. So Ann, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say, well, first of all, if you have an issue, you should contact Brian Mazar about the soccer field. But I think actually it's the opposite. What happened was with the I don't know, the broken up asphalt. What happened is every time it rained, it would all clog the drain, and then it would flood. And so they now the drainage works because they have the harder surface and it goes down the drain. But I don't really know details. So if you have a question, call Brian and find out.
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, the thing is, the plan was approved with a pervious surface.
Yeah, but I just talk to Brian. Bring him in because I don't know.
Okay, no problem.
You know what I'm saying? And then he could answer your questions. So just, give him a call or send an email.
I actually talked to the planning board to try to find out if if there was an amended plan that came in front of us for paving it, because that would fall under a stormwater management guideline that I don't think was ever addressed.
Yeah,
But
so I mean,
that's
just
nothing to do with
contact
right now.
him. Contact him just to straighten it out.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, so in the minutes, I will have that. 1, we will ask Bill about the letter status. 2, we will ask the property owner about to attend the next meeting. 3, we will ask Bill to contact Brian Mazar to attend the next meeting to discuss the parking lot. And at that time, we can see whether the paperwork needs to be updated. My number 4 question is, do we also invite the people from the solar panel company in, since they are in that area, and we should give them an opportunity to express whether they're being adversely impacted?
We had talked to them prior, because remember we thought that it was there.
They came in and gave us the drone aerial photographs, which identified where the silt was coming from.
Yes,
So
we should bring them in as well, because some erosion has gotten over their silt fence as well. It's less than 1/10 of what the other guy is, but he abuts, I believe. I don't believe the soccer
Yes.
field goes all the way back, but there is active erosion in the corner at the solar panels. So they got the money, so they should hire a consultant, much like the other one, as to document the extent of the damage to the wetlands and come up with a restoration plan.
Sounds good. But we'll get at least a letter out to them too.
Okay.
So maybe put that in there, Bill. We'll cease and desist him too. Shut them all down.
All right.
Max?
Since we're just asking Bill to do things, we don't need any motions on this issue.
No. Then he'll contact. I'll go over it with him and just explain to what we're trying to accomplish here and try to get everybody on the same page over there.
All right. So Anne, you should tell Brian Mazar to expect to hear from Bill in the next couple, whenever Bill gets back to working.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll do that.
Thanks, Ann. All right. So
Beavers.
are we all set with that one there, guys? Yeah, we got some beavers, emergency certification form for beaver control. This is all stuff that has to do with Alan, and it was an emergency situation, so that was all taken care of through Bill.
I move we ratify agenda items 5, 6, and 7.
I'll second that. Peter seconds.
All in favor?
Carl Hummel, yes.
Peter Coffin, yes.
Bill Aiton, yes.
Tim, you still there? Damon Tinio, yes. No.
Okay, unanimous.
So we review DEP administrative. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Review DEP administrative consent order for 4549. Has anybody looked over that?
I have not. Peter has not.
Okay, that's I'm just trying to see Lake Nipmuc study here, so I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
find it.
I looked at it. It was a whole lot of words basically saying that they assessed a fine of around $25,000. They are dividing it into money he has to pay the state and money he has to use to fund the SCP. If the SCP is not completed to the satisfaction of various parties, then he has to pay more money. So it looks like it's just putting in writing the agreement that we all were pretty sure was going to be happening.
Okay, so it's basically a work in progress here then, I guess, huh?
Yes, we had the kickoff meeting with the members of the Lake Nipmuc Association, and I sent an email to the committee describing that. The expectation is that he is now, the Rhode Island company is now going to be doing the water quality surveys during the next couple of months. They're going to go out with the boat and paddle around and investigate things. They have received from Dan Breyer and members of the Lake Nipmuc Association information about the previous water quality tests and where they were doing it. And the next deliverable will be a final report to be coming out September, October, and that will be presented at a public meeting. The expectation is that the Lake Nipmuc Association meets during the summer at the ballroom on, like, I think Thursday afternoons. So I recommended that we just leverage that time and do the exact same time slot in October. So that way we would have as many people from the Lake Nipmuc Association attending as possible.
All right.
The results of that final report that we're paying $18,000 for is going to be good ammunition if the Conservation Commission, the town, or the Lake Nipmuc Association want to go out and pursue grants to do any further remediation work that the survey might recommend.
Well, thank you. That was very nice.
I had to talk to a senior management committee today, so I'm on a roll.
Well, you did it. That was nice. Okay, perfect. So that's all going good, and I know that the people from wetlands and water, he went out the other day, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, just to check out some things. So that's moving forward too. So everything's going pretty good. Let me just get back to my agenda here. Sorry about that. The public hearing. Let's see. Arrange for signing. Did everybody get over there and sign the paperwork?
I did not, because I'm, a homebody.
I got you.
If there is still a need to have that done, I will venture out of my lair and do it sometime tomorrow.
Okay, yeah,
I think we had enough signs, except Damon, was there a project that you have that you couldn't sign, and so we needed a quorum on that?
Yeah.
Perhaps one more.
Yeah, the 44 Hartford Ave, I couldn't sign that. Basically was just, the conservation, DEP was looking for a deed restriction put on the deed saying that there couldn't be anything over 5,000 square feet replicated. We only replicated 750 square feet, so, and there's only one house lot there, so there's not going to be any issues there. So the deed was recorded and put to bed, so that just needs to be signed. And so we got to set some upcoming meeting dates. We got June 17th already on there. I mean, is everybody happy with just doing one meeting a month, or through the summer?
That works for me, unless it gets busier.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, you know what we'll do. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, that's fine with me too. I mean, okay. if people need more meetings, I mean, we could always get together again.
Okay. All right. So we got one for June 17th. We want to do July 14th, which is the middle of the month, and August 18th.
That sounds fine.
Okay. So you got that?
Sounds
Carl?
good to me. More important is, can we have an actual meeting as well as Zoom? Can we get back to real meetings?
We can.
I mean,
we can.
I think that we're supposed to be we have a new agent, I guess, / clerk. I guess I don't know what we're gonna what his professional name will be called, but he's supposed to be starting here shortly. Then I'm hoping
As of,
by June.
as of the end of the month, Governor Baker is rescinding the requirements on face masks and social distancing for indoor meetings. There will probably be further clarification, and I expect there'll be a town policy for opening up meetings. So we'll just
Yeah.
see what comes. We'll see what flows from the state to the town, and then what people in town hall decide to do for meetings in the building.
Yeah, we've been having planning board meetings for the last 2 months, so, there's no, um, there's no restrictions on that. I mean, but this was just an easier thing for everybody to do it this way with the conservation, so whatever
Okay,
everybody agrees to do is fine.
just to repeat, the future meetings are June 17, July 14, August 18.
Sounds good to me, as long as everybody's okay with that.
You mentioned we were transitioning to a new person. Has that person been hired?
As
Or
far as I know, yes, he has been hired. I talked with Kim. We had like a three-way conversation with him and Kim and I, and seems like a very nice guy. He works in the town of Upton and in Northbridge part-time, and so he's taking on Mendon part-time. I think it's gonna be a very good thing for us to have somebody that can go out and do a little bit. He doesn't want to do a ton of inspections, but if, right now it's Tim and I are doing, mostly the stuff because we're local, all the, during the day. But
do they have
if he
the
can
state?
help us out, that would make it very, very helpful because,
Do they have the
sometimes.
train? Do they have the training to flag wetlands?
No,
No,
no.
no, he's not a botanist or anything. He's just an agent that has a little bit of an idea of what's going on out in the world and out in the wetlands. What's right and what's wrong. So, Upton's very happy with him from what I was told. So, and so I think it's going to be a good thing.
Okay, I hope to see them at next month's meeting then.
Is anybody going over the minutes for April 22nd? Does anybody want to make a motion to accept?
So before we do that, Damon, so are we going to meet in person next month?
We should wait and see what the guidance from the state and town is.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
We
state,
we can express a preference to, and then when Bill and the new person are setting up the meeting and sending up the agenda and stuff, that's when they would decide whether it's in the building or not.
Right. I mean,
well, I know Mike Mendelia requested that if we could start meeting live, so it's and I would
yeah, right. Yeah, me too. I would rather be there, but
I would much rather meet live as well. So
yeah. So but if there's somebody that's uncomfortable with it, then they can just come on Zoom. I mean, I do planning board meetings sometime from Zoom, so it's not, whatever you prefer. We don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. Okay, so that's taken care of, and we'll make a decision before the next meeting on what everybody wants to do and go from there. Meeting minutes, April 22nd.
I move we accept them.
Is there a
Peter
second?
Coffin will second.
All in favor?
Carl Hummel, yes.
Peter,
Tim,
yes.
Bill Ayton, yes.
All right, Damon Tinio, yes. So, I got an email from Kathy Schofield last night. See if they could her and Ann could jump on and go over some stuff about 20 Milford Street, about the, Kathy, if you want to, are you on, Kath?
Yeah, I'm here, Damon.
Do you want to jump on here? I mean, do you have access to get that email you sent to me?
Yeah, I'm gonna try
up on the screen?
to. Yeah, I'll try to get it up on this screen so you can see it.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll just kind of give these guys. So this is going to be, they're trying to do some work in the Pollinator Garden. on 20 Milford Street. So that's like halfway kind of up the hill past the drive-in, just on the western side of Muddy Brook. There's some wooded area there that.
There.
She's got a nice map here with some stuff on it. So once she gets that on there, she can explain it a little better for you.
Yeah.
Right there. Press it.
Richie, don't yell at her.
Press it, Ken.
But if you yell louder, it makes it go faster.
I'm
Works for cars.
absolutely right.
Tell them how you feel, Kathy.
No, I'm good.
It's not working. Well, this is Teams, this is not Zoom.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, it's Teams, yeah.
Thanks,
So
Minda.
invasive guide and what's the other one titled? All
There
right.
you go. Share your whole screen. They should be able to see it now.
Nope.
Not yet.
I think we have to pull it up
No, you should be able to see your screen. What are you looking at?
right here.
Oh, yeah, you got to take your video off, Kathy. I mean, now you probably can see.
No. Hold on, Kat. Stop.
Are you watching what's going on
Where
here?
is that?
I want you to
Open
show
the
us,
video.
No, Kat, what screen do you want to share?
I want to share this document and this document.
Okay, so make it come up.
I click on it. There you go.
Why is it not coming up? This is driving me insane.
All right.
I think you have to have your video on.
Yeah, you got to turn the video on.
No, you don't have to have your video on.
No, you should just be able to open the share tray and
guys
click
want
on
the
whatever
whole. They don't
document
wanna-
you want to have sharing.
Where the hell is Teams?
I want you to listen to the computer geek.
This is a Mac. I can't.
Oh, now it's a Mac. Oh, I see how it works.
So that's your excuse.
Yeah, that's a bad excuse.
Where's this? Is the
All right,
this
get
is
rid of the invasive guide. Turn on the camera.
That's not going to work.
so they can watch you.
No,
Scramble.
Oh, look at you.
But it's going to look at me in my farmer jeans. No, where's the?
Now pull these up.
No, that's not. Okay.
Double click.
You done?
No, that makes no difference, Cap. I don't know. Can't explain that why that's not working in a Mac.
All righty. Let's see if we can.
All right, well, let me see if.
Sorry, guys. I tried.
I'm going to keep working on this and see if I can.
You have a hard
Because,
copy you can hold up?
Ann, can you get that?
What?
Do you have that? Can you put it up on your screen, Ann? Maybe?
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
Didn't I send it to you? I thought I
Sure,
did.
I don't know if I'll do any better than you, but
I know.
Do you
I'm
have a
not even
Mac?
trying because I know I won't be able to. Let me see if I can get Lonnie to jump on.
Window.
Yes, and then entire screen. If you click there and click that and click share, then they should be able to see everything. Now click there. Then click here, and they should be able to see your desktop. Now, right now, they should see DT in the middle. They should see your screen.
All right. Can you guys see DT?
Really?
It's because Microsoft doesn't like Apple computers.
I have an Apple too, so.
Hi.
Okay, can you see a list of favorites in front of you?
Just you, Richie.
Okay, I can't explain it, Kat. I'm sorry, I tried.
All right. We got to take him out. He's no good. Sorry.
All right. Well, you know
All right.
what? I'm gonna email it. Did you email it to the whole board, right?
I did not send it to the whole board. I just sent it to you, Damon. So,
All right, let me see if I can send it out to the rest of the board here.
all right.
Let's see. Oh, you put me on the spot. Peter, Peter, what's your ABC mailbox, Peter?
Yes,
Peter
P.
Or
Coffin.
would you rather to the mendonmass.gov one?
No.
All right, I'm gonna just send this to you so you can look at it too, because it's pretty good.
Great,
The
thanks.
way she's got it. And I'll send it to Carl. I just sent it to your Mendon email, Carl.
I'll wait for it to show up.
Maybe you, and let's see, Tim. Tim, which Comcast, Tim?
No, Verizon. Verizon.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, here's one I can send it to everybody. Maybe not. Guess not. Go to the Cardi T at Verizon.net.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
All right, I got it to, I think, I just gotta send it to Bill. I'd send it to everybody at once, but it wouldn't take it. I think I got everybody that's on here, so, but Kathy, go ahead. I mean, if you wanna, go over what you're
Yeah.
proposing here.
So we have been down monitoring the Pollinator Garden site, taking a look at what our first steps are going to be. Obviously, there is a lot of invasive plant material along Route 16 and actually there's a whole bunch on the inside of that meadow area, but primarily we'd like to get the area around the stone wall cleared back so that people can use the trail. We have a temporary trail cut on the inside, and that's the pink arrow. And then the two areas that we are hoping to get rid of the invasives are in the orange ovals. Does everybody see that? Anybody? Nobody?
I don't have anything in my Mendon mailbox yet.
Oh, you didn't get it?
I don't have anything in my Mendon Gov mailbox yet.
Oh, boy. Maybe because I'm on the phone. Let me see if did anybody get it from me?
Not yet. No.
I just sent.
No, I didn't get it, but continue on a verbal description, because what are you looking for us? Blessings, or I'm sure you're doing a good thing. But
Lonnie's going to put it on the screen right now because he's on here.
All right, Lonnie. So what we're hoping to do is to do invasive plant management in that area so that it doesn't start to bleed into the field that's there. So right now, National Grid has been working on that frontage starting at the top of the hill on North Avenue, all the way down. I believe they went up to the power line. So they are clearing on that side. A lot of invasive material about 10 feet back from the telephone poles. So we would start at the telephone poles and continue under the tree line on Route 16 and up to the stone wall. So we'd like to hire somebody. We have 5 quotes. They would need to use a small what did I put down? A wood chipper. They're going to be using a bobcat to go in and out of that little corner section where the 2 ovals meet. And they'll have a truck there for removing what they've chipped. There will be the bulk of the work is going to be done manually because of the wetland area. So they won't be taking any equipment into where the ground is damp. So what we need is permission to go in there with small equipment.
Well, there's the 25-foot area buffer, the 50-foot, the 100-foot buffer. Which of those do they want to run the Bobcat in?
They would probably run the Bobcat along the 250-foot area. Now it is interrupted by a wet area. It's probably 5 feet wide.
I'm not seeing a wetland in the picture. Muddy Brook, I know, is a wetland. Is there
Yeah.
any wetland within 100 feet of those orange ovals?
I would say yes. Actually, in both of those areas, there is wet area.
Wet as in like pocketed, like just like a low spot in the ground that's like 5 or 10 feet wide or diameter, or
Yeah, I mean it's mostly just muddy to walk in right now. It usually dries up over, the summer months. But there's a lot of fern that grow down there, so it's a wet area. Not that you would step in and get your feet soaking wet, but it's just damp in there.
Which areas is National Grid clearing?
So National Grid has been clearing into 10 feet of the telephone pole. So
Right, I'm looking at the picture on the screen and seeing the orange circles. Could you use
Right.
the cursor or something to say where National Grid's working?
well, I don't. Lonnie's got it up on the.
Oh, okay.
It's all along, Carl. It's all along Route 16.
Okay,
they just keep the branches back, Kyle, 10 feet
Right.
off the pole so that it doesn't damage the wire.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Lonnie. I used to live off of North Ave there, and I used to go down in that area. And I know what Kathy's talking about. It's damp, but it does get very dry in there, especially midsummer. The closest real wetland is Muddy Brook down in that area. Everything else is up higher in there. There are some pockets in that open space where it does get where rainwater would pool and does get muddy to even step in, but for the most part, that's all dry up in there.
So does that meet the definition of a vernal pool?
No, I don't believe it would.
I
we have
doubt it. And
medical
it's also,
comments.
unless there's a channel and a permanent, it's a function of the species there. If there's skunk cabbage, it's a wetland. But there's a lot of ferns that are not necessarily wet. And if it dries up, it might not be a protectable wetland, even if it is an area subject to flooding if it holds a certain volume.
Yeah.
The grade of that hill is so steep that, I mean, if there was any water that was continuously running over there, you would see it through that field, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have a channel if it were continuously running. So I doubt if it's a
I don't
protectable
think so.
wetland.
Yeah, I only remember seeing skunk cabbage down in the Muddy Brook section.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
about right. Okay. You got some more to, Kathy?
Say again.
Do you have any more are you still talking? I just want to make sure you are finished.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, what we're seeing for invasives, that are really, the, bittersweet is strangling out the trees and crawling up the trees. We'd like to get rid of, as much of that as we can. And then obviously, we'll, negotiate the autumn olive, decide how much to take out. the honeysuckle and the multiflora rose. We are, Patrice is meeting with Metacomet tonight just to go over the conservation restriction to make sure that what is being proposed is, something that they would agree to.
Right, yeah, I mean.
I'm willing to make a motion to approve, and Carl was digging at the details, so they're going to go in and remove invasives by hand, dragging them out to a chipper that is being moved around by a bobcat. So if that machinery can stay 50 feet away from any potential wet areas, that should not cause a problem.
Okay.
Yep,
And-
sounds good, that's great.
And also that one of the things that I don't know if we want to say this officially, but we'd really like that after the bobcat finishes moving around and they drive a truck back and forth, that if there are any deep ruts, that they smooth them out and restore whatever was there. The idea that you don't want to leave something that will get very eroded away at the next rainstorm.
Yep. That makes perfect sense.
Okay. Is there a second?
Carl Hummel, second.
All in favor?
Aye, Tim.
Peter Coffin, aye.
Carl, yes.
Damon, yes? Bill, you still there? Okay, well, we got enough.
Thank you all very much. And I promise next time I'll know how to screen share.
Oh, no, we tell Richie we like seeing him in his farmer jeans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's getting real hee-haw around here.
If it's, yeah, that looks like a great thing to be doing over there. Thank you for
Our
keeping an eye on that
pleasure.
stuff.
It's a good project. Thank you.
If you need any help with anything, please let us know. We'll do the best we can to help.
Oh, you probably shouldn't have offered, but
Oh, I said, no,
we'll be calling.
I did.
Did you just volunteer Peter Coffin again?
I volunteered Bill McHenry. He's not here, so I'll volunteer him.
Oh, there you go. All right. Yeah. Always the guy that's not at the meeting that gets there.
Right, exactly. All right, thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You
Yeah,
too.
thank you.
Thanks, Ann. I think that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, there's some, just all the stuff for the building permits, but those were all very, pellet stoves and roofing, and there was nothing really anything to do with anything that would require any construction, and most of the stuff was not even wetland. So, guess we're good.
It's 8:29. Carl Hummel moves, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Who did that second? Was that Tim sneaking in?
I second it, yes.
Damon, aye.
Carl, yes.
Elaine, yes.
Okay, guess that's all we got. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.